The quiet of space stretched like a dark blanket over the human outpost. It was a small, faraway station on the edge of known space, where few dared to go. The stars around it seemed calm, but beneath that calm, danger was growing. Far from home, humans had settled this outpost to watch and guard the border. They were careful and ready. Or so they thought. One morning, without warning, alarms blared through the outpost. A fleet of strange ships appeared from nowhere, moving fast and silent like hunters. The aliens had come. They were not known friends, but fierce warriors with sharp weapons and cruel minds. They thought humans were weak. They wanted to take what they wanted without a fight. Inside the control room, the human officers scrambled. Captain Mason looked at the screen, heart pounding. The enemy ships were closing fast. His voice was steady but low as he ordered, "Prepare. Defenses. This is no drill." The crew moved quickly, activating shields and readying weapons. The small outpost was no match for the alien fleet, but humans would not give up easily. The aliens attacked with brutal speed. Energy blasts ripped through the outpost's walls. Explosions shook the station. People screamed and ran for cover. Mason's voice came through the chaos. "Hold the line. Protect the civilians." But it was clear the enemy wanted more than just to scare them. They wanted to destroy. Outside, the enemy ships surrounded the outpost. They fired again and again, pushing the humans to their limits. But the humans fought back fiercely. They launched their own missiles and used the last of their weapons. Still, the outpost was breaking apart. The alien fleet was too strong. Captain Mason knew this was a trap. The aliens wanted to send a message now that humans were weak and could be crushed. But what they did not understand was that this attack had awakened something far worse. Far away, on Earth, news of the attack spread. Quickly. Military commanders gathered in the war room, faces grim and hard. General Anderson stared at the screen, watching the outpost fall. He clenched his fist. "They've crossed the line. No more warnings. We strike back with full force." The room was silent except for the sound of orders being given. Human fleets were called from every corner of the galaxy. Ships were prepared, crews trained, weapons loaded. For years, humans had stayed quiet, avoiding war and hoping for peace. But now, the beast inside humanity was awake. In the dark halls of the Space Command Center, analysts studied enemy movements. They learned that the alien race had grown bold and reckless. They thought humans would never respond strongly. They were wrong. The human commanders decided to teach them a lesson they would never forget. The first fleet to respond was the USS Valor, a massive warship built for battle. Its captain, Commander Lee, was a veteran with nerves of steel. He knew the enemy had made a mistake. "Prepare to launch all weapons," he ordered. "This is our chance to show them what humans are made of." The fleet jumped through space in a blink, closing the distance to the alien homeworld. The stars rushed past as the ships moved in tight formation. There was no fear here, only determination. The humans were ready to fight, and they were ready to be ruthless. When the fleet arrived, the alien defenses were surprised. Their sensors had failed to detect such a fast attack. The humans hit first, firing powerful energy beams that tore through enemy shields. Alien ships exploded in bright flashes and their bases shook under the bombardment. Commander Lee watched the battle unfold. His crew worked like a well-oiled machine, responding to every threat with deadly precision. The humans showed no mercy. For every outpost destroyed, another human ship took its place. The aliens began to realize they had awoken something dangerous. Back on Earth, the news was broadcast across the globe. People watched in awe and fear as the first human strike was shown live. The message was clear. Humans were not weak. They were angry, and they were ready to fight back with everything they had. But even as the human fleet gained ground, the alien leaders plotted their next move. They would not give up easily. They prepared new weapons and strategies, hoping to catch humans off guard again. But the humans were already one step ahead. Captain Mason, still alive but wounded, sent a final message before the outpost was destroyed. "They think we are soft. They will learn the hard way. The beast is awake." His words became a symbol. for humanity's rising power. The war was only beginning. The humans had been pushed too far, and now they had a reason to be ruthless. The galaxy was about to see a side of humanity it had never seen before, a side that would not stop until the enemy was defeated. Every step humans took was filled with fire and determination. They moved like a storm across the stars, relentless and fierce. The aliens had started this war, but humans would finish it on their own terms. As the first part of the story closes, the screen fades to black with the words echoing, "They awakened the beast." And humans were ready to get ruthless. The human fleet moved through space like a silent shadow, closing in on the alien homeworld. The stars outside the windows of the warship blurred into streaks of light. Everyone on board knew this was no ordinary mission. This was a chance to change everything. The aliens thought humans would be slow to react, weak to fight back. They were wrong. Commander Lee stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the screen showing the enemy's planet below. The fleet was ready. Every crew member felt the weight of the moment. The enemy had attacked first, but humans had waited, trained, and planned. Now it was time to show strength without mercy. Suddenly, the silence broke. The alarms sounded. Enemy ships appeared, rushing to defend their home. The human fleet did not hesitate. They moved together, fast and precise, like a single living thing. Missiles launched and energy shields flared. The battle began. The aliens were surprised. They had not expected such a quick response. Their defense ships tried to block the humans, but the humans were too organized, too focused. Each move was careful, planned. Commander Lee watched calmly as the humans pushed forward, taking control of the fight. The sky over the alien planet lit up with flashes as the humans attacked enemy bases and stations. The aliens scrambled to protect their people, but the human fleet kept pressing. The battle was fierce, but the humans held their ground, never losing focus. Inside the warship, the crew worked as one. Engineers kept the power flowing. Pilots flew their ships with skill, and leaders gave orders that guided every step. No one spoke of fear. Instead, there was a quiet determination. Humans had waited a long time for this moment, and they would not let it slip away. The enemy commanders on the alien planet watched the destruction with growing worry. Their forces were strong, but the humans were stronger in ways they did not understand. The aliens began to realize that humans were different, more than just fighters. They were survivors, ready to do what it took to protect their own. Commander Lee sent messages back to Earth. "We are making progress," he said. "The enemy is pushing back, but we will not stop." The words spread quickly, giving hope to those who watched from far away. As the battle raged on, the humans found a weakness in the enemy's defense, a gap in their shield that no one had noticed before. Commander Lee seized the moment. He ordered a precise strike to break through. The attack succeeded, opening the way for the fleet to move deeper into enemy space. The alien leaders were desperate now. They sent more ships, more weapons, trying to stop the humans. But it was too late. The humans had found their way in, and nothing could turn them back. Back on Earth, people waited anxiously for news. Every broadcast told of the bravery and skill of the human fleet. Children listened, dreaming of heroes. Adults felt pride and hope. The message was clear. Humans were not just fighting to survive. They were fighting to win. Commander Lee looked out at the stars and thought about what was coming next. The war was far from over, but this battle showed the true power of humanity. The aliens had started the fight, but humans had shown them how far they were willing to go. The fleet prepared for the next step, ready to face whatever challenges awaited. In the hearts of every crew member burned the same promise. They would protect their home and their people no matter the cost. As the fleet moved forward, the story of humanity's strength spread through the galaxy. The message was clear. Humans had awakened a force that could not be ignored. The battle was just beginning, but one thing was certain. The galaxy would never be the same again. The stars outside the window of the human fleet seemed calm, but inside the ships, tension filled the air. Every crew member knew that the fight was far from over. The enemy had shown they could defend, but humans had found a way deeper into their space. The question was, what would come next? Commander Lee stood quietly, watching the screens. Reports came in quickly. The aliens were preparing something new, something unexpected. They were not giving up. The enemy had learned from their mistakes and were ready to respond in a different way. But humans were ready too, stronger and smarter than before. The fleet slowed as it approached a large, strange structure orbiting the alien planet. It was unlike anything humans had seen, a giant glowing network that pulsed with energy. Scientists on the fleet believed it was a control center, a heart of the alien defense system. Taking control of it would mean a huge advantage. Lee called a meeting with his senior officers. "This station controls their defenses," he said. "If we can take it, we can end this fight much faster, but it won't be easy." Everyone understood the risk. The enemy would protect this place fiercely. As the fleet moved closer, the alien ships formed a strong wall of defense. They were desperate to protect their lifeline, but humans had learned to work together like never before. The pilots flew with skill, dodging the enemy's energy fields, while the engineers kept the ship's systems running at full power. On the surface of the alien planet, groups of humans prepared for a landing mission. Their goal was to board the control station and shut it down from inside. It was dangerous, and the unknown waited for them. But these were the best soldiers, trained to handle anything. As the landing ships moved down, the aliens activated hidden traps around the station. The humans faced challenges, locked doors, strange energy fields, and puzzles that tested their minds. They worked quickly, solving problems, moving step by step closer to their goal. Commander Lee stayed in contact with the landing teams, giving support and guidance. "Remember, the goal is control, not destruction," he reminded them. "We are here to end this conflict, not to cause more pain." The words kept the team focused on the bigger picture. Inside the station, the humans found signs of the alien culture, images, symbols, and messages. It was a chance to understand their enemy better. They realized that the aliens were not so different from humans. They had families, fears, hopes. This knowledge changed how some soldiers felt about the fight. Meanwhile, in space, the fleet continued to hold off the enemy ships. The battle was tense, and every second mattered. The humans knew that if the landing team failed, everything could be lost. But hope remained strong. Suddenly, the landing team reached the control room. Their leader, Sergeant Ramirez, worked fast to hack into the alien system. The tension grew with every moment. If they succeeded, the shields protecting the planet would drop. If they failed, the humans would face even greater resistance. After what felt like hours, a signal came through. "Control systems are offline," Ramirez said calmly. The fleet cheered quietly. The great shield around the alien planet began to fade, and the human fleet moved in closer without fear. Commander Lee smiled but warned, "This is just the beginning. We must stay ready." The alien leaders were beaten, but not broken. They would find new ways to fight. The galaxy was watching, and humans were showing their strength and intelligence. Back on Earth, people celebrated the news. The story of courage and teamwork spread fast. The message was clear. Humans could face any challenge if they worked together and never gave up. The human fleet prepared for what was next, ready to explore new strategies and face new dangers. The battle was not over, but the future looked brighter. Humanity had awakened its true power, and no one would forget it. The quiet after the control station fell was filled with a strange kind of tension. The human fleet had pushed deeper into enemy space, but the victory felt like the calm before a storm. Commander Lee knew this was only the start of something bigger. The aliens were shaken, but they had not given up. Something else was coming. Something no one had seen before. Inside the command room, Lee and his officers studied the data streaming in from the alien planet. Strange signals were being sent, messages the humans could not immediately understand. The alien technology was unlike anything humans had encountered before. It was advanced, mysterious, and full of surprises. Suddenly, the sensors detected something moving fast. A huge object approaching the fleet from deep space. It was not like a ship or weapon the humans had seen. It moved with purpose, almost like a living thing. The fleet tensed. This was no ordinary threat. The captain ordered the fleet to prepare defenses. The crew worked quickly, checking systems, readying ships, and getting into position. The tension grew as the unknown object got closer. It was bigger than anything in the alien arsenal, glowing with strange energy. It pulsed like a heartbeat. As the object approached, strange effects began to appear. Communications became difficult, systems flickered, and some ships experienced odd power surges. The fleet was under a test, but no one knew from what or who. Commander, Lee focused on keeping calm. "We don't know what this is," he said, "but we will face it together. Stay ready. Watch each other's backs." The crew nodded, determined to stand firm no matter what. On the alien planet, the leaders scrambled to understand what was happening. The strange object seemed to be linked to their own ancient technology, something from long before the war began. It was a power they had tried to hide, fearing its danger. Back on the fleet, scientists worked to study the strange energy. They found it was changing the very space around them, bending light and time in ways no one expected. It was like the object was alive, sensing and reacting to their presence. Suddenly, the object stopped. It hovered in space, sending a pulse of energy toward the human ships. Instead of attacking, the pulse seemed to send a message, not with words, but feelings, curiosity, warning, and something else, a deep sadness. Commander Lee made a choice. He ordered a small team to approach the object, hoping to communicate. The team was nervous but ready. They sent out peaceful signals, opening a path for understanding. The object responded by revealing images, a history of the galaxy, of wars and peace, of forgotten civilizations. It showed how the alien planet's leaders had once been caretakers of a great power, a force that could create or destroy. The humans realized that this object was a guardian, a keeper of balance. It did not want war but feared the destruction caused by the conflict between humans and aliens. The message was clear. If the fighting continued, the galaxy itself could suffer. Commander Lee felt the weight of the moment. The war was not just about power or survival anymore. It was about choices, how far humanity was willing to go and what kind of future they wanted. The fleet held its breath, waiting for the next move. The mysterious object pulsed gently, as if waiting for an answer. Lee sent a message back. "We seek peace, but we will protect our people. We are ready to listen." The alien leaders on the planet began to reconsider their stance. The arrival of this ancient power had changed everything. Old fears were replaced by new hope. Maybe this war could end, but only if both sides chose to understand each other. Back on Earth, news of the strange encounter spread. People watched and wondered what the future would bring. The story of humanity's courage grew, but now it was also a story of hope and change. As the fleet stayed ready, Commander Lee prepared for the difficult talks ahead. The galaxy was waking up to a new reality, and humans were at the center of it all. The battle was far from over, but the path forward was clearer. Humans had awakened more than just their fighting spirit. They had awakened a chance to shape the galaxy's future in a way no one expected. The calm after the encounter with the ancient object lasted only a short while. Commander Lee knew the moment of true decision was coming soon. The human fleet had shown strength and courage, but now it was time to show wisdom and heart. The galaxy was watching. The next steps would shape the future of many worlds. Deep in the warship, messages from Earth buzzed through the communication lines. Leaders and citizens waited, hopeful yet anxious. They had seen the power humans could wield, but they also understood the risks. Now, the question was clear. Could humans and aliens find a way to end the conflict without more destruction? Commander, Lee gathered his team for a meeting. The ancient force gave us a warning, he said quietly. We have a choice. Continue the fight or try to find peace. We owe it to everyone to try. His officers nodded. They all felt the weight of this moment. Plans began to form. Instead of more attacks, the fleet would open communication channels directly with the alien leaders. Teams of diplomats and scientists prepared to join the talks. Their goal was to understand, to find common ground, and to build trust. The alien leaders were hesitant but curious. The ancient power had shaken their world and their beliefs. They had feared humans before, but now they saw something different. Maybe this was the chance to stop the cycle of war. The first meeting took place in a neutral space station far from both sides. The hall was filled with representatives, humans in their uniforms, aliens with their own dignified presence. Silence filled the room as eyes met, each side uncertain yet hopeful. Commander Lee spoke first. We have all suffered losses, he said, but we also share the same hopes, safety, peace, and a future for our people. Let us work together to build that future. The alien leader, a calm and wise figure, responded. War brought pain to both our worlds. The ancient force showed us a greater power, the power to heal or destroy. We choose to heal, if you will join us. Discussions went on for hours, sometimes tense, sometimes hopeful. Both sides shared stories, fears, and dreams. Slowly, trust began to grow. They realized that though different, they could find common ground. Outside the talks, the human fleet remained on alert, but stood down from aggressive actions. The alien forces mirrored this. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath, watching the fragile peace take root. Back on Earth, families gathered around screens, watching the talks live. Children dreamed of a galaxy where humans and aliens lived side by side, not enemies, but friends. The news spread hope where once there was only fear. Commander Lee knew. The road ahead would not be easy. Old wounds and memories of battle remained. But he believed in the strength of his people, not just their power, but their ability to choose kindness and understanding. As the talks continued, plans for cooperation began to take shape. Trade routes opened, cultural exchanges started, and scientists from both sides shared knowledge. The galaxy slowly changed, not by force, but by the power of unity. Yet even in this hopeful time, the humans stayed vigilant. They had learned that peace required strength and watchfulness. But they also knew that peace was worth fighting for, with courage, patience, and hope. Commander Lee looked to the stars and smiled. The beast they had awakened was not just the warrior inside humanity, but the spirit of hope and resilience. The galaxy was vast and full of unknowns, but for the first time it felt like home. The story of humanity's awakening was far from over. It was now a story of new beginnings, of bridges built across old divides and a future that no one had dared to imagine before. The galaxy held its breath as the fragile peace began to take root. The human fleet and alien forces now stood side by side, not as enemies but as partners in a new future. Commander Lee understood that this moment was both an end and a beginning. The end of a long war and the beginning of a shared journey. The space station where the final talks were held buzzed with activity. Scientists, diplomats, and leaders from many worlds gathered to witness this historic event. There was excitement, but also caution. Both sides knew the path ahead would be filled with challenges, but hope was stronger than fear. Lee stood at the window of the command center, watching ships from different species arriving and departing. These vessels carried more than supplies or messages. They carried the promise of cooperation and friendship. The old battles felt like distant memories. A new council was formed, made up of representatives from humans, aliens, and other species who had suffered from the war. Their mission was to work together to rebuild, to create laws and systems that would keep peace and protect all lives. It was a first step toward something greater, a united galaxy. As part of this new alliance, teams of explorers and scientists began working together. They shared knowledge of technology, medicine, and culture. Together, they discovered new ways to heal planets damaged by conflict and to build homes for refugees. The work was hard, but filled with purpose. On Earth, the news inspired people everywhere. Stories of bravery and cooperation were told in schools, homes, and gatherings. Children dreamed of exploring space not to fight, but to learn and grow. The spirit of humanity had transformed, from warriors to builders. Commander Lee knew that the true power of humanity was not in weapons or ships but in the ability to choose peace, even when the easy path was conflict. The beast they had awakened was not just strength but wisdom and hope. Yet the galaxy was vast and full of mysteries. There were still unknown threats lurking in the shadows, but now humans and their allies faced them together. They were no longer alone in the dark. As the sun rose over Earth, Lee felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity had faced impossible odds and had risen not just as survivors, but as leaders of a new era. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape. The story of awakening had come full circle. From the moment the beast inside humanity stirred, through battles and choices, to this new dawn of unity, it was a journey of growth and hope. And, in the silence of space, the stars seemed to shine brighter, as if the galaxy itself celebrated the courage of those who dared to change their fate.